Hey everybody, welcome back. Today is actually your last day of being on the computer for health class. Next week we will be headed into our puberty and our growth and development unit, and then we will be taking our final on Thursday. So if you're missing notes from anything, or if you haven't been writing them down in your notebook, I would strongly suggest that you go back to our previous videos and you get all of your notes written down in your notebook, because Thursday you can use your notebook only your notebook. You can use your notebook with all the notes that you wrote down in it on your final that will be next Thursday. Okay, so today's the last day though that you're going to be watching me on the video, and the last day that we'll have our headphones and be using the computers. The rest of the days we will be talking through and having classroom discussions about puberty and how our bodies are growing and changing. Today's topic, however, is controlling our emotions. So we talked yesterday about self-esteem and just being able to feel good about ourselves and being able to find those things that we like and things that we enjoy and do those with others and really kind of help make ourselves feel good. So along with that is being able to control your emotions, right? You don't want to ever start feeling super sad all the time, or you don't want to start feeling super angry all the time, or super anxious and super nervous all the time. So how do we control those? How do we work with our friends, work with our family, work with the school personnel to keep our emotions in check and to be able to handle them appropriately? So that's kind of what we're talking about today. You should have just watched a little video about how our brain works when dealing with emotions, which I thought was really neat and interesting. So for your warm-up today, I want you to just journal about your thoughts on the video. Like just a couple sentences. What did you think? What did you learn? What's something that you found interesting from watching that video? So whatever it is you write down, just make sure it proves that you watched the video and that you know what's going on inside the video, because that might pop up on your test later. So something that you found interesting, useful, interesting, something you never knew before, something you learned from the video that you just watched. So that's your warm-up today. Okay, notes. We don't have a ton, which is good. So 4 things, that's it today, and then we'll get to our assignment and our quiz, and that's it. All right, so here we go. Self-control is our first definition. Oh, that didn't go well. I'm losing my stuff here. Okay, so self-control is the degree to which a person regulates their own behavior. So when you are exhibiting self-control, you are capable of controlling your behavior, right? You are capable of calming yourself down. You are capable of making yourself a little bit less nervous. You are capable of, like if you're really upset about something, you're capable of getting yourself, collecting yourself, bringing yourself back together and understanding, okay, this is not as bad as I'm thinking. So that it's the degree to which you're able to regulate your own behavior. Okay, so when we talk about having self-control, we're talking about can you sit in class even though you're bored, right? You're feeling that emotion of boredom. Can you sit in class and be still anyway? Or are you like all over the place because you can't control yourself, right? You are lacking that self-control to feel that emotion of boredom and just be able to sit still anyway, right? Are you able to control yourself when someone's picking with you? Someone's constantly saying this. Are you able to be like, whatever, I'm not, who are you anyway? Like, am I even concerned about you? Not really, right? You're able to just kind of brush it off. Or are you like ready to get up and punch someone's face in? Okay, so how do you handle yourself? That is what self-control is. Are you able to maintain control of your emotions, maintain control of your body, and still continue to do the right thing, right? So that is self-control, and it's hard, and that's what we're going to talk about being able to work on today. All right, so negative emotions can sometimes build up. Let me come this way, make it a little bit easier. There you go. Negative emotions can sometimes build up in the body when a person refuses to accept or deal with them. This can lead to stress and even cause sickness. Okay, so Think about it. Can you think of a time when an emotion that you were feeling actually made you physically sick, right? So when you're thinking about negative emotions, we're talking about things like anxiety, things like anger, things like feeling upset, things like feeling overwhelmed, maybe even bored. Okay, so these are negative emotions, and they can build up in your body when you're refusing to deal with them. Like, no, that doesn't make me sad. No, that's not making me mad. No, I'm not overwhelmed, or no, I'm not nervous or anxious about this. Like, I'm fine, right? That's when your body, you're refusing to deal with it. You don't want to talk to anyone about it. You're not trying to deal with the emotion in any way. You're just trying to ignore it. Then it kind of builds up in your system, and it can make you feel sick. It can cause stress, and it can make you feel sick. Some easy examples are like when you're getting ready for maybe a big concert or a big game, and you start to feel nauseous, like you start to feel sick to your stomach, or you're sitting outside the principal's office because you just flipped your lid and went crazy, and now you're waiting for them to call your parents, and you are sweating, and you can't sit still, and you start to just kind of get a headache because you are just like so nervous about what's going to come, and you can't believe what you did. So that's when those things, the same thing when you're sad, you're crying, can't control yourself, can't get it together. That can lead to headache, that can lead to just extreme fatigue where you're just completely exhausted. So can you think of any of those times that maybe that happened to you, where these negative emotions are building up, and we're not able to deal with them, and they kind of start to make us feel sick, and they start to make us sweat, and our face starts to turn red, or we start to get a headache, or we start to just feel just dizzy and nauseous and miserable, right? Tired. So that's kind of what happens inside of your body when you're not able to, or you refuse to, you just kind of ignore the problem, or you don't want to deal with the problem. So that is talking about negative emotions. All right, so how do we control these emotions? So when we're looking at this, controlling our emotions in the moment, all right? So in the moment, when you are getting mad or when you're starting to get upset, sometimes it's good to just walk away. Say, you know what? I need a minute, and walk away, right? It's not always good to turn your back and walk off on a teacher or a parent, because that's going to cause them to probably get even more angry. But if you say, hey, I need a minute to think, and can I take a quick walk and come right back? Most of the time, the adult is going to be okay with that, right? If you're in a moment where another student is making you really angry, yes, you can just turn your back and walk away, okay? So walking away when you're upset or angry or feeling frustrated, walking away is sometimes a good thing. Taking deep breaths, right? You've heard that count. Breathe in, breathe out, right? Those deep breaths help calm you, brings your heart rate back down to normal, helps make it so that you can recenter yourself and really think about your next action. Okay, changing the subject, right? And this happens, I think, a lot. You're friends with someone and they start picking with you, and they know it's something that makes you upset or something that makes you angry, and they keep doing it, and they keep doing it, and they keep doing it. And when you start to get upset, you're like, stop, or quit, and the more upset you get, the more they keep picking, just change the subject. Start talking about something else. Bring something else up, right? So sometimes when you can feel it, you know it's going to start making you angry, or if it's even something that makes you upset and you're just not ready to talk about it yet, change the subject. Talk about something different. Okay, so that's a really good way to kind of just divert your mind and to, give yourself a chance to kind of deal with and process those emotions, and then you can talk to that friend later. Okay, sometimes using humor, depending on what is going on with the emotion, like if you're feeling really anxious or nervous before something, telling a little joke or, making your friend laugh, that might help lighten their mood and make them not feel quite so anxious, quite so nervous. So using humor is another good way to kind of like break the tension, to kind of like put people at ease and to make them feel more confident and less scared and less nervous and less anxious, right? So that's a really good way. And sometimes too, when someone's really, really angry, if they, before they get to that flipping their lid point, if you can still like kind of lighten the mood to say a little joke, that might give them that pause that they need to kind of collect themselves, right? To help their upstairs brain and their downstairs brain kind of connect and still have those emotions going, right? Counting backwards, right? Sometimes you just need to take a minute and count backwards from 10, 9, 8, 7, and that helps you just kind of regain that composure before you fly off the handle. And then sometimes it's okay to just ignore it, right? Just, who are you? Stop talking to me. Just completely ignore the situation. Collect yourself before moving forward. Okay. Some long-term ways to control your emotions. Obviously, exercise, because exercise is great. Writing out your feelings. Okay, writing out your feelings is huge. Getting them out. When you're letting them fester, when you're letting them build up in you, then it's getting worse. Okay. Journal every night. Write down your feelings. Write down what you're thinking. Okay. Put it in a poem. Write it in a song. Just get it out. Talk it out. Right. If you are a talker, like I'm a talker, I could talk all day to just about anybody. So for me, I'm not much of a writer. I don't like to write it down, but I love to talk it out. Like I still call my mom like at least 3 times a week just to tell her about things that are bothering me. Right. I talk to my friends. Obviously, I'm talk to my colleagues or my coworkers, and then if needed, absolutely talk to a counselor. There is nothing wrong with taking time for yourself, okay? Taking time out to say, hey, you know what? I maybe need to talk through this with a counselor, talk through this with a therapist. That is completely normal. When you're not feeling healthy, like when you have a cold or if you have the flu, you take time out for you. Like, I need to heal my body, so you go see a doctor. Same thing. You need to heal your mind too. It's the same thing. There's nothing wrong with you. It's completely normal. I know so many people that see counselors, and I know so many people who have their kids see counselors just because it's like part of their regular wellness check, right? We check on our physical health, we should check on our mental health, and we should check on our social health too, okay? Those are all important. So find somebody that can be your sounding board, someone that's listening to you, somebody that's caring about you, and somebody that you can just kind of like tell your feelings to. Super important. Some people are super crafty and they like to build and be artistic. Maybe they are making paintings or building woodworking things or, whatever, working on the car, anything like that. Create, build, be artistic. Anything that kind of helps like just give you something to take your mind off of it and gives you a way to release your emotions and your feelings. Some people like to color. It helps them feel de-stressed, as little adult like coloring books, Okay, music. Oh my gosh, this is one that we do at our house all the time. We have dance parties all the time. They're so much fun. We sing, we karaoke, we do that all the time. So like some people, for some people, they like to just put their headphones in and just be by themselves, listen to music, and whatever music you're listening to can help like pick your mood up, right? We get out our little karaoke microphones, we do a little dance party, and just kind of like frees up our emotions. It like lets us use them in a positive way, and by the time we're done, like we're all laughing and we're all just feeling better, and it just really is like that pick me up that you kind of need to get rid of some of those angry, sadness, boredom, anxiousness, all of those negative emotions that you can feel. It just kind of wipes those all away. So do those things, like, with a sister or brother or parents, like my whole family does it. So it sounds silly, but it's so much fun. Like, it's probably one of my favorite parts of the day. And then last is go outside. Getting fresh air. There's so many studies that say 10 minutes of fresh air every day just improves the connections in your brain. And so that upstairs and downstairs brain doesn't get so blocked. And those connections and those pathways are there, and that gives your thinking brain a chance to tell your reacting brain, whoa, hold up, all right, slow down a minute, let's process this before we just flip our lids, okay? So those are ways to control your emotions. Last thing, that was number 3, this is number 4. So after you're out of the situation, like right in that moment, you're feeling heated, you're feeling upset, and you get yourself out of it, you calm yourself down, you use humor, whatever it is, you still have to go back and deal with the emotion, right? So you've got yourself feeling in a better mood, you did some of those other things like exercising, writing in a journal, you've got yourself in a good place. Now you need to figure out, why am I feeling this way? Why does this thing continuously make me angry? Why does taking a test continuously make me nervous and anxious? Why does this friend saying this about my hair continuously make me furious, right? Super angry. So you need to deal with that underlying emotion and figure out how to process through it so it can stop making you feel so miserable. Okay? So here's some questions that you want to ask yourself. All right. What is the emotion that I'm experiencing? Like, are you experiencing frustration? Are you experiencing anger? Are you experiencing sadness? Are you experiencing boredom? Are you experiencing anxiousness or feelings of being overwhelmed, right? So determine exactly what emotion you're experiencing, okay? So sometimes people feel anger because they're sad, right? Sometimes the situation is making you so sad that all you have is anger for that. So that happens a lot when your parents are getting divorced. Like, you're angry with them. You're angry at everyone else who has parents that aren't getting divorced, because you're sad that your parents are getting divorced. So you want to figure out the exact emotion that you are actually experiencing. And then what's causing you to feel this way, right? Is it that friend that keeps picking with you? Is it that you feel like maybe you're not really friends, or that maybe they don't really like you, or they don't really accept you? So you're like questioning your self-image, you're questioning your self-worth because they are picking with you. What exactly is causing you to feel the way that you're feeling? Okay. And then what are ways that you can react to this? Okay. I can talk to this friend, right? I can ignore this situation. I can talk to a counselor about how I'm feeling. I can talk to a parent and ask for ideas or ways to, deal with this, right? I could ignore the friend completely and stop talking to them because I'm tired of what they say. I could say bad things about them back, right? So how am I going to react to this situation? And then which response would be the most positive and the healthiest? So pick one of the ways. I would say talking to a counselor or talking directly to the friend is going to be the most productive. So which is going to be the most positive and the healthiest? All right, last thing, wrap up questions. How can emotions be influenced by others? What impact can emotions have on the body and mind? And why is exercising self-control an important part of life? All right, that is it for today. Last day on the computer with notes. Woohoo! Let me know if you guys have any questions, and I will see you next week. Have a good weekend.